Hey coaches, welcome back to Flag Football Nation. I'm Coach Adam, and today we're going to be continuing our How to Beat This Defense. Um, and today we're going to be going over different variations of the 2-1-2 defense. So the 2-1-2 defense is one of the more popular defenses in 5-on-5 flag football, along with the 4-1 defense that is now um, a new has been renovated, but today we're going to be going over three different variations of the 2-1-2 defense and how we're going to beat those with said number of plays. So what is the 2-1-2 defense? So the 2-1-2 defense is a two shorter zone, one middle zone, and two deeper zone defense at its core. So we have this defender covering short. Both corners are going to be covering in shorter flats. Here we have the strong safety. It's going to be covering the deep half. The free safety is going to be covering the other deep half. And then our rusher in the middle, or a linebacker, is really the wild card with the first two variations. So the first variation is just your standard zone, where he's going to be guarding the middle zone. But the other variation is going to be he is going to be a blitzer. And so what we look at here is what is the weakness of the zones. So if he's not blitzing and he's covering that middle zone, where is the weakness on the field? Okay, so there's different spots. If you look at the shorter zones, we have the in between of the corner and the rusher itself on both sides, and then we have the deep left of the free safety, and then we have the middle between the safeties and the deep right. Okay, so once we move into the blitz variation, now the weakness is going to be in the middle of the field as well as the deep pockets in between the safeties. Sorry about that. Um, and so another variation that I've been asked by one of my Patreon subscribers to go over is if the corners are now moved in uh, ever so slightly. And so what that does is now that opens up the left side of the field and the right side of the field, as well as the he is not blitzing. So that as well as the deep left, deep middle, and deep right. So each of these plays, we're going to go over 10 plays today that beat these coverages in one way or another. So the sorry, excuse me. Let's go to the first play, which is stick. Okay, so stick. What we like about stick is the fact that what we're doing is we're putting three offensive players a uh, against three defensive players. If you want to count the middle defender, it's up to you. How we're going to read this is we're going to read the Z first on his outside release. We want to make sure it's outside release because ideally, if this corner is running, a variation of man or whatever, we want his head to be turned with the receiver so that he's not paying attention to what's coming after him. Okay, and then the second read is going to be our center running a flat route. We don't want to get any deeper than 1 to 3 yards on this flat route. And then the Y is going to run a 6-yard hitch. That's going to be our stick route. Okay, and so against a standard 2-1-2 zone defense, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be reading this corner here. This corner, we're going to put him in a bind. Okay, so he has to decide if he wants to go deep with the Z, or he's going to come flat, stay flat with the center. And so spacing is going to be important. We want the Z out wide because if the Z's out wide, that makes this safety have to guard more ground, and then we also can take advantage of this deep right side of the field. Okay. So the third read here is going to be this Y hit here. Okay. So if the corner stays flat and the safety moves over to guard this, now we're putting this middle defender in a bind as well. So now the middle defender, if he guards the hitch, now we have this backside slant by the X. Or if he comes and stays here, we have that little hitch here that we can just set, turn, and throw with. Okay, so against a blitz here, what we have is quarterback needs to identify what his hot is. Um, Now, if you want a better quarterback helper to help your quarterback better understand pre-snap what we want to do, check out our Patreon. We have a video coming out on how to make your flag football quarterback better, and that goes over pre-snap and what we're looking for there. Um, so identify the hot. So the hitch is going to be your hot. So if a blitz coming, you can forget, reading the Z, reading the center, you can read the hitch here. That's all we want to do is we want to throw it to the hitch, or if you like the slant better, you can throw the slant as well. And so that's pretty much all you need for that type of defense. All right. And so if you have this kind of look here, the idea is that we're still reading this corner. Now, if your quarterback can make this hole shot here before the safety comes over, more power to you. That would be fantastic. Also, what you can do is you can read this corner here between the hitch and the flat. And so spacing is always important. We want to line out a little bit wider. Maybe you could say about here. That way we want to make this a quick and easy throw here. All right, now if this safety is lining up over top and is more leaning towards that outside release quarterback, we probably don't want to look that way. We want to just focus on either the hitch or the flat coming up and by the center. All right, so that is stick. Next, we're going to go to a stack look. This is going to be ace drive trail. All right, and so against this defense, this is something that we like here as well. And so what we're really doing is we're really attacking this part of the field here. Okay. So quarterback's reads are actually really simple. All we're going to be looking at here is we're going to look at Z number 1 to Y number 2. And so Z is going to be running a shallow route, no deeper than 5 yards. And then the Y is going to take 2 steps outside and then come back. It's like a weird slant, I guess you could say. We're going to take 2 steps outside and then we're going to cut across and look for this aiming point here. And so quarterback, all we're doing is we're reading this middle defender. Okay, so the corner is pretty much occupied by this post. Either he'll stay there or he'll go deep. Okay, safety has to be respect the post or respect the in. Now the rusher is who we're looking at here. So says the center's coming right at him, he might back up, which is what we want, because then we can just hit the Z underneath on this little shallow route. Okay, maybe we run this a couple times, he bypasses the center and then guards the shallow. Now we have the trail coming underneath for that easy read here. So all we're doing is we're just picking on this guy here, and that's really it. Okay, so let's say we have a blitz now. All right, what you can do now is we want to make this just a more fast-paced throw. So we're really looking to aim about here, whether that's the Z, let the Z come across, throw it to the Y. It's up to you. We just want to make a nice quick throw to this open spot of grass that's right here. Okay, so let's go on to our next variation. Let's say the corner is sitting outside and the safety is a little bit deeper. Same thing on this side. All right, so with this here, now the Z is coming across, all right, and the Y is now running straight to the corner. Okay, so we still have open field in the middle. If this center pushes this middle defender back, we still are basically reading this guy. Either he goes with the Z and we throw the Y, or he stays and we throw the Z. That's ideally what we want. Okay, so let's say now we're throwing it, now he's coming up closer. All right, now you want to make an emphasis on your quarterback that we're changing how we're reading it. Now we're picking on this guy. Okay, so the corner should be held here with this shallow coming across. The rusher should be held here with the counter with the shallow coming across, and the corner should be staying here with the trail by the Y. So now we're reading the safety. Okay, we're reading post here to center on the out. Okay, we're going 10 yards for both of these. Now the free safety has to make a decision here. Either I'm going to back up to guard this post, or I'm going to come down to guard the out. As long as our quarterback is right, he will always be wrong. And so that is ace drive trail out of a stack look. Next, we have good old-fashioned Y corner. If you need a more detailed, more in-depth look at Y corner, I'll go ahead and leave that card right there at the top right of the screen. That way you can check out our more in-depth look at Y corner. So out of our base look here, what we're doing is we're pretty much picking on this middle defender here. So we'll start from left to right. The X has our gift route, as we like to call it. All he's doing is reading the cornerback's depth. If he's back, we will run our little three-step hitch. If he's up, we're going to run a three-step slant. It's real simple. So in this case here, he's always going to be running the slant because the corner is not giving him space. And so he's going to be running that slant. The center is running a flat route. Ideally, we want it about 1 to 3 yards away from the line of scrimmage. The Z is going to be running what we call a slant and stop, or a spot route. If you have trouble teaching it, what you can do is you can say it's a three-step slant, and then you're going to stop. If you want to make it even easier, you can say stop over where the Y was lining up. Okay? So now the Y is running a 10-yard corner route. And so what we're doing here is one of two things. Okay? We're pushing this safety back with the corner. All right? Quarterback, how we're reading this is we're reading Y first, center second, Z third. Okay? So if this space is open over here, by the time the Y breaks, we want to go ahead and throw that. Run underneath it, and score a touchdown. All right? If the safety fills that, now we're moving on to our second read, which is we're reading this corner. All right? So the corner has to make a choice. Either he can stay with the Z on the spot route, or he can come down to the center. Either way, as long as our quarterback's right, he will be wrong. And so that's how we're going to read it. Now, coach, you may say, okay, so what if this middle linebacker starts to poach this spot route here? Well, that's why we have the backside slant. Okay, so how we're reading this is we're reading 1 to 2 to 3, little triangle read, and then 4 if we need it. All right, so that's how we're going to read it with a base look here. All right, so in case of a blitz, again, we're looking at the quarterback. What's our hot? What is our hot here? Okay, so we can have two different hots. It's entirely up to you what you want to teach. We can have the Z as the hot, okay, or we can have the X as the hot. I personally like the X as the hot since he basically is getting a free release, while the Z basically has to wait for the Y to clear out first before he can go and sit down. So we like the X with the hot. So if you see a blitz coming, we just want to throw it quickly to the X, let him gain as many yards as he can, and that'll do it. All right, so now our little inverted 2-1-2 here. All right, so really it's the same kind of look here. We're still reading it the same way. Now the corner is really has to make a choice. Is he going to fly out to guard the flat, or is he going to stay with the Z spot? All right, and so again, this is something that you want to teach your quarterback how to read. We're basically just reading this guy, or if he's in here, that's even better. Okay. Another thing you can do here is if this safety is starting to key in on the corner here, you can tag it with a copo. a corner post. And so what we'll do is if you're getting no blitz, that's important. The quarterback can, once the Y breaks, the cornerback punt the ball, and then he's going to run a corner post back to the middle of the field, and then we can take a deep shot down that side. Okay, so that's how you can beat it out of this formation. All right, so next we have ace curl flat Y post. So this is just basically a curl flat concept here. And so what we're doing is we're basically reading it Z to center to Y, or you can read it Y to Z to C if you want to. It's up to you. And basically what we're doing is we're really keying in on two guys here, depending on how you want to read it. If you're reading it curl to flat to post, then you're going to be keying on this corner here. If you're reading it post to curl to center, we're keying on the strong safety, because the strong safety has to make a choice. So how we're doing this is we're doing the Y is running a 10-yard post, the Z is running a 10-yard curl coming back to 8 yards for the ball, and the center is running a flat. Okay, while the X is still running the 10-yard come back to 8 curl. And so we'll go ahead and go through both reads here. Since we're reading curl flat to post, what we're doing is we're keying on this corner. Does he back up to guard the curl, or does he come up for the flat? And so your quarterback's reading that here. If he comes and stays with the flat, then we like this curl here. If he comes back, then we have the flat. So it's quick and easy read. Now, if you run this play and now the safety is starting to keep on the curl, now we have that post. That's why he's the third read. All right. So if we're reading post to curl to flat, now we're reading this safety. Does he stay in for the post? We throw the curl. Does he stay for the curl? We throw the post. All right. That's how we're reading that here. Now, if we have a blitz coming, now who is our hot? Okay. Well, you can say the post is the hot. You may have to tell your Y, hey, we're going to be throwing it to you quickly, so go ahead and turn to. We want to turn around for the ball, maybe a little bit sooner. Or what you could do is you can make your post a little bit shorter to attack more of that middle of the field. So that's what you can do here in this case. All right, so move on to more of an inverted cover 2 here. Maybe they want a little bit more in the middle of the field coverage. Okay. So again, it's really simple. It's basically the same reads here. We're still reading this corner, ideally. So the corner, we're still choosing how you want to read it. The reads are basically the same. It's just the corner's in a different spot. So if we're reading curl flat to post, again, corner's going to have to make a decision. Does he back up for the curl? We throw the flat. Does it come up to the flat? We throw the curl. If you want to read it post curl, then flat, we're reading the safety. Does it come in for the post? Then we throw the curl. If he comes for the curl, then we throw the post. And then if safety goes with the post, now we can still read it curl to flat, where the corner comes here, and then we throw the flat. Corner comes to the flat, then we throw the curl. Okay. So next we have switch. Okay, so in this situation, or we have white cross, but we have switch. So in this case, this is really for, maybe a team is blitzing a lot, and we're using the quick game concepts that we had just gone over, and now they're like, okay, blitzing isn't working. We're getting we're allowing big gains off of it. So now we're just going to keep 5 in coverage to guard for receivers. All right, so that's whenever you want to reach into your bag here and throw out switch. If you want a more detailed version of switch, I'll go ahead and leave that breakdown in the right top corner. That way you can get a little bit more of an in-depth look at switch, which is one of my most favorite plays against this type of defense. Okay, so how we're reading this is we're reading it Z first to Y on the wheel to C on the flat. Okay. So how the Z is taught is we want to identify the closest deep defender we have. Okay. So in this instance, this would be the strong safety. And so what we're teaching the Z is we want you to go inside, identify the nearest defender, and we want you to sit right in front of them. Okay? We want you to sit right in front of them and force yourself to be guarded. Okay? So now what that does is this puts this safety in a bind. Okay? Now the safety can either leave the receiver that is right in front of them to guard this wheel, or he can stay put and guard this receiver that's right in front of him, and now we have the wheel open. Okay? So, and then, you know, if the safety staying still, now we like the wheel here. If the safety goes over, now we like the curl. Now the corner, we are keeping him flat, keeping him in his zone by the center flat. But if a coach makes a decision, you know, safety guard the curl, corner go with the wheel, then we have the flat coming across. All right. So another thing is we don't want this free safety to be able to come and poach this curl when the safety comes over, guards the wheel or whatever. So that's why we have this backside post to keep the safety honest. Because if he doesn't, then we have a touchdown coming in with this X backside. Okay, so an inverted 2-1-2 is pretty much the same thing. It just allows us with a little bit more leverage. You know, Z is still identifying who is the closest deep defender. We're sitting in front of them. We're keeping the other deep defender honest with this post. And now the corner is a little bit more out of the leverage is not helping him at all because of the fact that now we have this corner. We have the Z coming in as a little bit of a pick play. The Y is coming underneath and is now running the wheel. And if the corner is supposed to be going and guarding the wheel, now he's losing a foot race due to the natural rub we get from that play. So that is a potential touchdown as well. Okay. Next, we have Y cross. Good old Y cross. Okay, so standard 2-1-2. All right, how we're reading this play is we are reading it, excuse me, X first on the outside release. We have center second. We have the Y on the cross third. And then we have the Z at a 10-yard in is fourth. Okay, so the idea of this play is we are pushing this free safety back with the outside release, the MOR, mandatory outside release, and then we are keeping the corner flat with this flat route. And so what we're doing here is we are putting this defender in a bind, okay? So since he's staying in his zone, what I'm telling the Y is we want to go underneath this is not pure air raid. The air raid says go underneath the flat over top of the middle. Something that looks a little bit more like this. So the only thing with that is that takes a little bit too much time. In our league, we only have 7 seconds to throw, but we want to make this quick. So we just do it as a standard cross. So we're going underneath the middle defender, and then we're going to the sideline while gaining depth. Okay, so now this middle defender's in a bind, so he can either continue to carry us, and now we have the Z coming across underneath on the dig, or he stays here, and now we are able to hit the Y cross after he crosses him for a big gain. So that's basically how we're going to read that there. Now, if the rusher blitzes, now that makes it even better because our hot here is going to be the Y on the cross. Quick, easy throw right here, and then he can split the defense and potentially score touchdowns since ideally you want the Y to be your most athletic, best receiver, best overall player in terms of who can catch the ball, run after the catch, stuff like that. Now against a inverted 2-1-2, This just makes it a little bit easier. Same potential read. We're keeping the corner flat. Now, it depends on if this safety doesn't react very quickly, this X can get deep on this MOR, but ideally it's really the same read. If the corner's staying flat with the flat route, free safety's getting deep here. We're still reading this guy. Okay, so if he goes with, we got the Z on the N underneath. If he stays, then we have the Y cross once he crosses the middle defender space. All right, so next we have switch verticals. Okay, so switch verticals. What we're doing here is we're dividing up the field. Okay, so what we have here is we have 3 open spots in the deep coverage. Okay, this is pretty much exclusive to no blitzing. Okay, so if you're playing against a team that runs a 2-1-2 and does not blitz, this play would be fantastic for you as a vertical passing play due to the fact that you have 7 seconds for your guys to get open. And what we're doing here is we're using spacing as a way to get guys deep down the field for your quarterback to make a nice, easy play. All right, so what we're doing here is we have MORs by the X and the Z. You can even widen them out almost as far as you can to make the safeties guard the whole field. And then what we have here in the middle of the field is the Y is running a middle of the field seam. What he wants is we want him to go inside and then split the safeties deep down the middle. And then the center, what we want is we want the Y to go first. We want to go outside a little bit and then up towards the safety itself. And so what we're doing here is we're really putting this strong safety in a bind here. Okay. So now the safety has to make a choice. Are we going to guard the outside and leave the seam open by the center? Or are we going to stay here and then let the Z run past and we have a touchdown here? So how we're going to read this is we're really going to read this from right to left, or you could do it left to right if you really wanted to. If you wanted it left to right, I would do this. I would flip it. We're attacking, we're attacking one player with 3 deep routes. Now you could argue that the rusher could move deep with the inside seam by the Y, which is fine. That's still no problem because we're still making the safety make a choice here between the center and the Z. And now, due to the speed of the play itself, the strong safety is more likely going to guard the Z, leaving the center open, especially with the R or the rusher having to guard the middle if he chooses to do so, and the safety having to guard the X MOR. Okay, so now if this guy's playing like a Tampa 2 and he's basically playing a middle third, now we're still putting him in a bind by making him choose between the center and the Y. Okay, so spacing is important on this play, but it can be an effective play if the defense is not blitzing. Now, if they are blitzing, you can do something that is pretty easy here. If he blitzes, if the middle defender blitzes, our hot route is either the center or the Y. Okay, so you can make it kind of like a slant. You're just going to throw it quickly out to the Y, and he's going to split the defense. Or what you can do is you can throw it to the center quickly after he lets the Y go first. So you could do it against the blitz if you really wanted to. An inverted 2-1-2 here makes this play even a little bit more deadly, since the safeties are a bit more widened out. That already plays into the fact that we already have them where we want them. We want them to guard these outside releases, and then we want to, because the corner is going to guard flat. So what we want here is we want the Y to go deep down the middle, and then the center to go off of the Y's butt and then come up the seam here. So we're still making this middle defender in a bind, what does he do? Okay, and you can even make this a quick play. So if the corner widens out and the rusher or the middle defender is staying here, what we can do is we can let the Y go first, and then we'll throw the center here on after he breaks up the middle of the field or the right seam. Okay, so let's switch verticals. Next, we have this dagger concept. So what we're doing here is how we're reading it is we're going to read this Z first, okay, and then we're going to read the center flat. And then if you want to make it a third read, you can read this X on the spot route. So what we're doing here is we are pushing the strong safety back, keeping the corner flat here, and then we have all this open space to throw this in. And ideally, we want to throw this in as soon as the Z breaks inside. We don't want to wait for over here because there's nothing that is keeping this guy engaged besides the spot route if he chooses to guard that. So if he does do that, now we have a bunch of open space and now we're off to the races. But if he stays here and you wait, now this guy can come and poach this here. Okay, so it's important to make sure to communicate to your quarterback that we want to throw this as soon as the Z breaks. Okay, so against the blitz, who is my hot? Okay, so if this guy's coming here, we can make this spot route the hot here. Okay, we can just basically treat it like a slant. Don't stop. Just, run a slant. And then quarterback can just set, turn, and throw. Quick, easy throw. Okay, so inverted. Again, if it is a true inverted, where this guy is coming across, it's really the same read. I don't see a big difference with this. The thing is this Y is still pushing this strong safety back. This corner is still being laid flat. The only thing is this corner going to sit on this, and now this guy is free to roam around. Okay? That's why it's also important that we throw it pretty much right when the Z breaks, because what we want is we want to look at this middle defender, keep eyes on him, and then we get the timing of the play. We look here, set, turn, throw, and now we have that spot. Because if we receive the snap and we're looking over here, now this rusher can start to move over, okay, and then pick that play off. So we want to keep either the eyes on this safety here or on the middle defender as well, just so that he stays in place rather than him coming and poaching this dig. All right. So next we have ace flood Z post out of a stack look. And pretty much all we're doing here is we are pushing this safety back with this post, and now we are putting this corner in a bind. Okay, so the Y I really like at a 10-yard out route here, because what we're doing is we are going to maybe push this corner back. Now we have this flat here, or we keep the corner up and now we have open space here since the safety is guarded back. Okay. Now you could say, okay, coach, now what if the safety goes back and then we have the rusher or the middle defender coming and guarding the flat? Well, that's where this little 5-yard, 6-yard in comes in by the X, because now he has to remain honest and right where we want him, or the X is going to come underneath wide open in the middle of the field. All right, so if there's a blitz here, there's a preview of the next play. So if there's a blitz here, now who is our hot? Well, the X would really be the hot here. If you want to convert this to a slant, you can. It's entirely up to you. I like the in a little bit more because it takes a little bit more time for it to develop. Granted, you may not have that time depending on how good the rusher is. So you may want to convert it to a slant. Just depends on what kind of players you have. If they're able to break it in, you can also make it a shorter in. If you wanted to make it instead of a 6-yard in, you can make a 3-yard in. That's another example of what you could do. Um, so against an inverted 2-1-2, we're still really achieving the same thing. Okay. So the safety's being pushed back by this post. The corner is being forced to either be flat or guard the out route. Either way, we want him to be wrong. Now, if the corner guards the um, out route, the middle defender comes underneath. Now, what we want is we want this X to win on the in. Okay, so now if the corner's coming out because he thinks he's coming deep, now we want that left foot being planted into the ground and coming across, and now we have that wide open space here. Okay. So next, what we have is Pepper. All right, so you may remember this from my 2-3, how to beat 2-3 defense. If you want to check that out, I think it's 8 or 9 plays that beat the 2-3 defense. I'll leave that link at the top right corner. So what we're doing here really is pretty similar. So what we're doing is we're running a double post concept from the Y and the Z. We're in a X close formation, running a deep cross, and then the center has a flat. Okay, now quarterback, what we want to do is we want to drop about 1 step back, and then we want to kind of roll out to the right. Okay, so what we're doing here is we're pushing this safety back, strong safety back with this post. We keep the corner flat, and then ideally we want this crosser coming over top. Okay, so now the middle defender can do one of two things. So middle defender can go with the cross, okay, and then we're a little bit of trouble. But if the coach is teaching stay in your zone, then the rusher is going to come with him and then come back. Okay, it just really depends on what you're seeing. Now, if you're seeing, I'll be honest with you, if you're seeing the rusher come with the cross, this play might be dead. But if you don't, continue to call it. Okay. So now the corner is really putting a bind to guard back with the deep crosses to come underneath with the flat. Where we can read that guy as well. If the safety comes underneath, now we have this post over top, and then maybe the rusher will see that this guy is going deep, so maybe he'll come back underneath as well. Okay, so now against a blitz scenario, the hot here is just going to be the X cross. Okay, so we're going to attack that middle of the field with that X cross, and then that's pretty much how you beat it there. So inverted may make it a little bit different. All right, so ideally we're still reading this Z to X to C, but now the question is if we can make this Y post a little bit skinnier, we could really attack the deep middle here. So what we could do, depending on spacing, depending on where this safety's at, if we widen these guys out, okay, let's say we're almost to the sideline and then we're about 2 yards away from him. Okay. Now we can really pick on this safety a lot, even if the rusher comes over. All right, because if the safety chooses this post, now we have the Z post coming behind him, and if he stays back, now we have the Y over the middle of the field. We can put that ball on a rope and go across the middle of the field for 6. Okay, now the rusher may be guarding back, the safety guards back, and now we're still reading this corner here. If he goes back, we throw the flat. If he comes up, we got the cross. All right. And then for our last play, that was it. So if you guys like stuff like this, please let me know. Hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. We reached 215 subscribers. I really appreciate it. If you like stuff like this and want to see more extra content and support the channel, check out our Patreon at www.patreon.com/flagfootballnation. if you want to support the channel, get some extra content, if you want to get access to that QB manual video that is coming out soon, let me know. Uh, hit that Patreon, send $5 to your boy's way, and get access to extra content and a great community of other coaches. So my name is Coach Adam. This is Flag Football Nation. Redefine the game.